Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest in the LF Energy webinar series. Today, Akerly will be talking to us about Twitter best practices and social media. This is a really great way to promote the open source and to promote other activities that are focused on software and community collaborative events. So I will just hand it directly over to Carly.
Perfect. So thank you all so much for joining me and LF Energy today for the second half portion of our social media series. Like Jeffro said, my name is Carly Akerly and I am with Socialite Chicago, a social media marketing agency out of Chicago, Illinois. Today, we are going to talk about the basics of Twitter and some advanced tactics to better your profile and amplify the message of LF Energy. If you use a platform, it is an amazing tool for networking, adding value, sharing information, building a business, and more. So let's get started. Today, we are going to cover 9 different topics. First, we are going to talk about the Twitter background and other information. Then we're going to highlight some Twitter definitions. You're going to learn how to make a Twitter account, some Twitter do's and don'ts, how to stay up to date with accounts, what Twitter lists are and how to use them, some following FAQs, engagement on Twitter, and you're going to learn about hashtags, and you're going to learn about Twitter analytics. So Twitter is a microblogging and social networking service in which users post and interact with messages known as tweets. Unlike LinkedIn, that is used for professional purposes, Twitter is focused more on recreational use. Twitter was created in March 2006 by Jack Dorsey, Noah Glass, Biz Stone, and Evan William. The service rapidly gained worldwide popularity, and in 2012, more than 100 million users posted 340 million tweets a day, and the service handled an average of 1.6 billion search queries per day. In 2013, it was one of the 10 most visited websites and has been described as the SMS of the internet. Tweets were originally restricted to 140 characters, but this was doubled to 280 in November 2017. Twitter is headquartered in San Francisco, California. Today, 92% of the US population is familiar with Twitter, even if they don't use it. Compared to other age groups, it turns out that Gen Z is most likely to be using Twitter. 44% of US 18 to 24-year-olds use Twitter. By comparison, only around 26% of 30 to 49-year-olds use Twitter. 80% of US tweets come from 10% of Twitter users, which is pretty amazing. Tweets with hashtags get 100% more engagement. The average Twitter user has roughly 707 followers. There are 500 million tweets sent each day. That's 6,000 tweets every second. 80% of users access the platform on a mobile device, so it's very important to have mobile-friendly content. There are almost 48 million monthly active Twitter users in the US alone, and roughly 42% of Twitter users are on the platform daily. So these Twitter definitions you're going to see commonly used when Twitter is talked about. So the first Twitter definition is a mention. And a mention notifies another user that you are communicating with them on the platform. So by placing the @ symbol in front of a username, you can tag another user in that tweet. A reply is starting a tweet with an @ username, and you can reply publicly to a single user. A direct message or DM is a private message that can be sent directly to a user on Twitter who is already following you. A follower is someone who follows you on Twitter and sees your updates on his or her home feed. And your home timeline displays a stream of tweets from accounts you have chosen to follow on Twitter. A retweet or RT, this is a way for someone to share a tweet from another user's account. And a hashtag is using the pound symbol in front of any word or phrase, and this tags your tweets. When someone clicks on that hashtag, she or he sees your tweet along with everyone else's tweets using that same term.
Carly?
About that.
No worries.
So before you can start using Twitter, you of course have to make a Twitter account. So this is the desktop version of how to make a Twitter account. You can also make a Twitter account through the app, but we're going to talk about the desktop version today. So to begin, go to twitter.com in your web browser and it'll bring you to this page. To join Twitter, you go ahead and click the sign up button that is highlighted in the blue Twitter color. It will bring you to this slide. You will go ahead and input the name you want to be called on Twitter, your phone number, or you can use an email. This will be associated with your account, and you will, of course, have to verify that later. And then your date of birth. This will not be shown publicly, but this gives you the best experience when Twitter has your date of birth. So they'll curate content that is most relevant to your age group. You'll go ahead and pick a profile picture. If you're a business, this will typically be your logo. And if you're a single user, this should be a headshot. Sometimes when you use a picture with multiple people, it can be hard to differentiate who is who. So I recommend choosing a photo that only has you in it. And then it'll bring you to your interest page. This will curate content that's from sports to entertainment, news, a lot of different interests that you may be wanting to see on your newsfeed. So you'll go ahead and select some topics that you're interested in, and Twitter will personalize your newsfeed from the beginning. And it will find people to follow before you even look for people to follow. So this is a great task to do when you're just creating your account. So it will give you accounts to follow right away. Or you can skip for now if you want to manually find people to follow. So once your account is created, it's going to bring you here. And as you can see, I have 0 tweets right now. My name on here is Carly Akerly, very simple. My username is Carly Akerly. On the left-hand toolbar at the top, that is going to be your newsfeed, the house looking icon. And then the magnifying icon is the search bar. And you can search hashtags, other users, different topics, all within the magnifying glass. Then the bell icon is notifications. So if someone retweets you, if someone favorites your tweet, anything along those lines are going to show up in your notification. Direct messages is the mail icon. Bookmarks is the one below the direct messages. And then it goes to lists, which looks like the paper icon. We're going to talk about lists more in this presentation. And then your profile. So whenever you want to go back to your profile, you click that head looking icon. And then there's more is the 3 dots. And then tweet is the big blue button. And if you want to add another account to your Twitter profile, you can add existing account at the bottom. So if you have multiple accounts, if you're managing a brand or something along those lines, you'll want to add another account, or you can log out using the bottom icon. So this is the mobile version of what my profile looks like. At the top, I chose a very simple header photo that just says social media marketing, and it has my company name on there. And I have a headshot that's just me. I have my Carly Akerly name written there. I have my username that just says Carly Akerly. I recommend choosing a username that's as simple as possible so users can find you easily. And if someone already has your name, I recommend using just a number behind that, a hyphen, an underscore, something along those lines to keep it very simple. I chose a biography that is 1 sentence long with 2 hashtags in there. I recommend using hashtags in your biography because it will make your profile stand out a little bit more and make it found. If I ever want to change my header photo or my profile pic, I just select edit profile and I can change that easily. All my tweets are in here. My tweets and replies, media that I post, and all of my likes are found within here. And as you can see, Twitter already gives me people to follow. So it says who to follow. Shuli Goodman's right there from LF Energy I can follow. I'm only following 2 at the moment, and I only have 1 follower just because I made this account very recently. Some Twitter do's and don'ts. So you don't want to overuse hashtags. It may be tempting to use 4 or 5 hashtags in a tweet, but actually hashtags do increase your engagement by 100%. But when you start using more than 2 hashtags, engagement actually goes down. So you want to stick to the 1 to 2 hashtags range. You do want to engage often, whether you're liking another tweet, retweeting, replying to a tweet. It can be as simple as that, but try to engage as much as possible. You're going to find more followers. You're going to get more replies in that do engage range. You do want to tweet regularly, and we're going to talk about the top times to tweet later in this presentation, but consistency is key with Twitter. Don't protect your account. So when you protect your account, users cannot retweet you. So you're actually going to have lower engagement when your account is protected. Now, if you have some more sensitive material and don't want to be public, do protect your account. But for our purposes, you want to not protect your account to keep it as open as possible. Do create an informative profile. Make sure your biography is highlighting what you do, 1 to 2 hashtags. Try to inform the public of what you are all about with your retweets and your tweeting. Do use Twitter to connect with people at business events. Oftentimes when you are attending a business event, there are relevant hashtags that you'll want to use. So when you use those hashtags, people can engage with you very easily. So use those relevant hashtags at business events, and it's perfect for networking. You don't need to follow everyone. Just because a follower follows you doesn't mean you have to follow back. Following isn't mutual. So if a user is not going to provide value to your Twitter, you don't need to follow them back because that's just going to clog your newsfeed. And don't use up your available characters. Like I said earlier, you can only use 280 characters in a tweet. Don't use up those available characters with really long links. So I recommend shortening your links with bit.ly, bit.ly. That will shorten your links to make them much easier to fit into a tweet, and it'll save your available characters. So how to stay up to date with an account. With LF Energy, we're going to show you how to push notifications with the organization. So you want to go to the magnifying glass on the left-hand side of the screen and type in LF Energy or the LF Energy username. So in this case, we're going to do LFE_foundation, which is the LF Energy username. From there, this will bring you to the LF Energy Foundation profile. In the upper hand screenshot, there is the following tab and a little bell icon. If you select the bell icon, this will notify you every time LF Energy tweets. So if you really want to engage with another company or another user, you want to push notifications. Also, when you visit a profile, you can see all of the tweets from that person or organization, all tweets and replies, media that they post, and all of their likes. So it's very easy to engage when you go directly to that profile. Also, when you click the three little dots, this will bring you to all of the More tab. So you can turn off retweets if you no longer want to see what that person's retweeting. You can add or remove from lists, which we'll touch on more later in this presentation. You can mute the user if you don't want to see any of what they're posting. You can even block a user, but of course we don't want to do that with LF Energy. We want to be notified of what they're doing. So what are Twitter lists? Twitter lists are a curated group of Twitter users formed by what those people have in common. It helps you organize the followers into groups or categories. Lists allow the user to easily see tweets from a particular group without having to see the whole feed. It actually saves time and is more helpful for the person who wants to save their time when using social networks. In your Twitter newsfeed, there can be a mix of sponsored posts and all of your followers' tweets. To hone in on a specific topic, you can create a list regarding that specific topic. So a list provides you with a mini feed with accounts that you actually care about. And this could be top media, top influencers, top people that you communicate with. So how to create a Twitter list? You're going to want to select on the list button on the left-hand side of the screen. As you can see right now, I don't have any list created. So let's create a list. I will simply hit the create a list button. And I'm creating a new list from the start. This one's going to be energy, media, and influencers. The name can only be 25 characters, so keep that in mind. And also, you cannot name a list with a number at the beginning. And you put a short description that's up to 100 characters. So for this, I'm going to keep it very simple: important energy accounts and other influencers. I can make this account, this list private if I would like to. If I don't want anyone else to subscribe to my list, I would want to make that private, but for now, I'm going to keep it public. Once I name it and put a short description, I click next. And now I begin adding members to that list. So I want to add other energy accounts, other energy influencers. For now, I'm going to add LF Energy and the Linux Foundation to this list. So right here is what the list will look like. If I want to just see energy, media, and influencers, I'll visit this list without visiting the home feed. And this will show me all of the members that I've added, all of their retweets and tweets. So this is a way to curate all of your content to make sure that the Twitter list is most relevant to what you've named it. So I can edit this list at any time if I want to add more members. As you can see, I have no subscribers, but I'll show you shortly how to subscribe to a Twitter list. So I would go to a Twitter account to add or remove a user to my list if I want to continue to add and make my Twitter list larger, and I can view lists. And that's all from that More tab that I showed you earlier. So these are all the lists from LF Energy. LF Energy belongs to 3 different lists. They belong to energy, media, and influencers, systems, DevOps, and media and brands. I can see all of what LF Energy subscribed to and what they're owned, and I can follow all of their lists from this section as well. So what is following? Following is subscribing to another user's tweets. Their updates will appear in your home timeline, and that person is able to send you direct messages. Followers are people who receive your tweets. If someone follows you, they'll show up in your followers list. They'll see your tweets in their home timeline whenever they log into Twitter. You can start a private conversation with them as well. Like I said earlier, following is not the same thing as friending someone on other social networks. So like on Facebook, when you're friends with someone, that's mutual. But on Twitter, following is not mutual. A person can follow you without you following that person back, or vice versa. How do I know if I'm following another person? Click following on your profile or homepage to see who you've followed. This will always be displayed in your following list. You can unfollow accounts from that page as well if you no longer want to see their content. You can unfollow someone at any time. You can either visit the user's profile page to unfollow them or unfollow them using your following list. And if you no longer want someone to see your updates, you can restrict that person from following you by blocking that user if you no longer want them to view your content. So if you hit the More tab, you can see here, this is where you protect your tweets. So you want to go to Settings and Privacy and Safety. From Privacy and Safety, as you can see, it says Protect Your Tweets. For our purposes, we want to leave our profile public, but you can also protect your tweets from this section. For notifications, I recommend pushing notifications, so you'll be notified anytime something important is going on Twitter. So this way you'll always be checking the app, checking the website to make sure you're not missing anything. You can do SMS notifications if you want text message notifications, and you also can do email notifications. This is all found in the notification sections of settings. Like I said earlier, once you begin following people, Twitter will curate people who to follow. So this, I follow right now the Linux Foundation, and I follow LF Energy. So Twitter is giving me other energy influencers to follow. So you want to constantly check this tab to make sure you're not missing out on anyone that's relevant to you. They'll make sure that who they're providing you will provide value to your home timeline. Some tips for using hashtags. Like I said in the LinkedIn presentation, do not add spaces or punctuations to a hashtag. So if a word has an apostrophe, if it's multiple words, you're not going to want to include that apostrophe, and you're not going to want to include spaces, because that's not how a hashtag works. It has to be one entity. So even if it's not grammatically correct, that's okay for a hashtag. If you tweet with a hashtag on a public account, anyone who does a search for that hashtag may find your tweet. So it's important that you're hashtagging on a public account, because that's going to make your account and your tweets found more easily. Don't use more than 2 hashtags per tweet. That is a Twitter best practice. Although you can use as many hashtags in a tweet as you like, as long as it doesn't interfere with your character account. Type a hashtag keyword into the search bar or that magnifying glass to discover content and accounts based on your interests. So if you type in a hashtag, it'll curate all of those tweets that use that hashtag. This is your home timeline. As you can see, the What's Happening bar, that's where you create a tweet. You can embed images, GIFs, you can create polls for your audience to engage with, and you can use emojis within a tweet. LF Energy recently tweeted about the LinkedIn webinar we had. As you can see, I can like or favorite that tweet. I can retweet that tweet. I can reply to that tweet using the little message icon, or the up-facing arrow. I can add that tweet to my bookmarks. So what exactly is a bookmark? That saves a tweet without you engaging with it. So if you don't want to lose a tweet, you want to bookmark it. That way you can go back to that at any time, and it won't go to your likes or your retweets. It will go to your saved private bookmarks that only you can view. And Also on your home timeline, you're going to see all of your followers' retweets. So as you can see at the bottom, Richard O'Brien retweeted recently. I'm going to see that on my timeline. So you want to be careful as well of what you're retweeting. So if you want to save a tweet without liking or retweeting it, you're going to want to bookmark it. So LF Energy hashtag. If you go to the Explore tab on the left-hand side of the screen, this will bring you to the hashtag section. I want to look up the hashtag LF Energy hashtag. Once I do that, I'm going to see all of the top tweets with LF Energy. I'm going to see all of their latest tweets. I'm going to see people that are related to LF Energy. I'm going to see photos and videos of LF Energy. So whenever you want to see what's going on with LF Energy, go to that Explore tab and you'll see everything that LF Energy's tweeted. I control the LF Energy account, so whenever I do a tweet, I always include hashtag LF Energy. If you are tweeting about LF Energy, you want to include that hashtag so it goes in this section. So what is the difference between these two tweets? One has a period in front of it and the other one does not. So what exactly does that mean? You don't want to start a tweet with the @ symbol. If you want everyone to see your tweets, don't start it with that @ symbol because Twitter sees that as a direct private conversation with another user and they treat them as so. So only the person creating the tweet, the person being mentioned in the tweet, and those that follow both accounts are going to see the tweet that does not have a period in front of it. If you want your reply to be public and you want everyone to see that tweet, put a period in front of the @ symbol and everyone's going to see that as long as they follow you. They don't have to follow the other account. But that's going to get LF Energy some more recognition when you are replying with text in front of the @ symbol. So Twitter Analytics, some benefits of using Twitter Analytics: you learn about your audience, you find out what content resonates the most with your audience, and you can post at optimal times when you use Twitter Analytics. So right here, I have a screenshot from Sprout Social, and they're highlighting the best times to post on Twitter according to their data. The best times to post on Twitter is Monday to Friday during the lunch hour. Posting at lunch every day, Monday to Friday, can help you increase social media engagement. That's most likely due to people are checking their phones during the lunch hour. They have a little bit more free time. So that's the best time if you want to get engagement on your tweets. And Saturday and Sundays are the worst days to post on Twitter. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't post on those days, but just keep that in mind that they aren't going to get as much engagement as they are during the week. Some important metrics that you'll find in Twitter Analytics, and I'll show you how to access Twitter Analytics shortly. So some top important metrics. A top tweet you'll find in Twitter Analytics. This measures the tweet that earned the most impressions for a given month. New followers, so how many new account followers did you get in a particular month? Your top follower, the top follower of the month, which that has the highest number of their own followers. Your top mention, the tweet with the most impressions of the month and which another user tagged you in. And that also means if you're getting a top mention that something received a lot of engagement on and that was your top mention of the month, if it's a negative mention, you can always reach out to that person to see what you can do to repair the relationship. So it's important to see what your top mention was, whether that be positive or negative. Engagements is are the counts of how many times people interacted with your tweet. This includes everything from tweet expansion to retweets to likes to follows. Engagement rate, the number of engagements divided by the number of impressions a tweet receives. Twitter reach percentage, how many of your followers saw any given tweet. And link clicks, the number of times Twitter users clicked on a link or website card in your tweet. So how to find Twitter analytics for your profile. You're going to want to go to the left-hand side of the screen to the More tab. Once you select the More tab, it's going to bring you down to this drop-down menu. You want to click Analytics. So to measure and boost your impact on Twitter, you want to hit Get Started on the analytics.twitter.com page. As you can see here, it'll bring you to this dashboard. This will give you your 28-day summary. As a new user, I have 1 profile visit and I have 1 follower. This is very new. So as you progress, you're going to increase your profile visits. You're going to increase your followers. And it's going to give you all of your tweet highlights, what your top mention was, what your top tweet was, who your top followers are. And it's going to show you impressions over a certain time period. Your top tweets, tweets and replies, any promoted tweets you've done, and you can change the dates by hitting the top section where it has the calendar icon. You can alter those dates at any time, but this is important data. So if you're ever looking to increase engagement on your Twitter account, this is the section you want to visit, is Twitter Analytics. And in the lower right corner is all of your engagement. So that includes engagement rate and link clicks, things like that. As always, I am always available for LF Energy. I can be contacted by C. Akerly at lfenergy.org. You can visit my LinkedIn profile and send me a message at any time. I'm always available for anyone from or linked to LF Energy. But I do want to answer any questions that you may have regarding Twitter at this time.
For asking questions, you can hit the Q&A box or chat, or you can raise your hand using the controls. I'd be happy to allow anybody to talk.
Let's see here.
I don't see any questions. I think you were very thorough. I was really interested in the whole lists thing, because one of the things I find about Twitter is that it seems like it's all over the place. And it seems like those lists would really narrow it down to the stuff that I was just interested in.
Yes, and you can create as many lists as you like, and that just sorts your Twitter. So that will allow you to be much more organized.
Is there a place to go and search for lists that already exist that other people curate?
If you go to a specific user, you can see all of their lists. Let me go here.
Like if I went to Shuli's profile, I would see her list, or go into yours. I see.
Right here. So you can view any user's lists that they may have by going to that More tab and viewing lists within the profile. And it will bring you here, and you can see all of their owned lists, any lists that they're subscribed to, and any lists that they are a member of.
Oh, that's great. Wow. That's going to be a total game changer for using Twitter. Okay. Does anybody, any of the attendees have any other questions? Again, Carly is available at her Twitter, obviously, and through her contact information. And if there's no other questions, I guess we can wrap up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today.
Oh, really appreciate you speaking. This has been really fascinating. All right. Thanks everybody for coming.